think this is the thing about what I love about TTO, if I'm being honest, is that I was given a range to explore. And I think that is not always the case when in development, when considered an emerging artist, emerging playwright. I think sometimes we are limited depending on who is funding us. Hi, I'm Cheyenne Wyzzard-Jones, and I use they, she pronouns. My freedom really came from being able to be in this 22-month residency, having already had a first draft, yes, but like being able to come in and say, I still want to be in development. I still want to understand what this story is. That's freedom to me, being able to not feel limited when in process. I mean, I've been in this residency for 22 months, and I think over the course of a year and a half, building with both River and Victoria has been impactful in just the ways of being able to process together, being able to understand how our stories are interwoven. And I think being at Double Edge for 3 times over the course of 22 months is a beautiful way to like really think about process. I feel the connection between our pieces is this idea of the in-between. So talking about my work with the messenger of a Black Indigenous story that really talks about both like body and spirit in the ways that we are holding different narratives in our bodies and what does it mean to live in this in-between space, but it's also a place of freedom. It's an actual place that's happening in the messenger. And I think that throughout the process, I was discussing rivers, I was discussing land, I was discussing Black Indigenous history. And I think with Victoria's piece, she's really discussing that within movement, within body, within how it actually is like visualized and actualized in the body. And River's piece, they do an amazing job of thinking about what it means to create theater and community. And I feel like a lot of their work is the theory and the practice to how these worlds can be actualized in our society. So yeah, I think they like blend really beautifully, and we're obviously talking about elements, we're talking about spirit, we're talking about a queer aesthetic. Yeah, so it's been beautiful to really be able to be in process with them, with these overlapping and intersectional ways that we're discussing in between spaces. I mean, lineage and time travel are the biggest queer aesthetics that happen in this play. It's interesting because when I think of lineage for the messenger, it's talking about, yes, blood, in terms of your blood family, but it's also deeply talking about chosen family. They all come from their own respective family lineages, but they have been chosen to be a messenger as another lineage that is of chosen family, that is of spirit, that is of intentionality and community building. And so they're all interdependent in this way, and responsible to each other in this way. But it's a queer aesthetic because when we think of lineage, we are always, as queer people, talking about lineages that are not of our blood family a lot of times, or thinking about lineages of our artistry or of words or of poets, of writers, of like theories that we connect with, right? And those are a part of our lineages. So I am really excited that this play kind of explores those aesthetics, and then also thinking about time travel. The water is kind of like, what are the elements that make time travel exist, and when does it happen, how does it happen? Like in the play, like hearing Alicia kind of going at it in a specific way in regards to a relationship around Native identity and relationship to Blackness and returning, staying, and leaving. Like those tensions exist, and like there are some hard things that they're saying to each other that are problematic. And I say problematic not to like create tension in a way that's like harmful for people who are watching. I think it's just problematic in the ways that how we've been told about each other is a part of it. right? Like anti-blackness, anti-indigeneity is real in our communities. Um, yes. So I guess it is speaking to that dominant narrative. However, I think that if that is the only thing people are focused on in this play, then you're missing the point. I don't see a playwright as like someone who has power. I see them as someone who has medicine, as someone to like something to share, something to contribute, worlds to be created. I think there are amazing playwrights right now who are doing that, who are questioning, who are taking time to be in relationship to each other, in relationship to community. I think that is a beautiful way to think about what playwriting is outside of just the theater world. It's kind of like you're in relation. You are also a community member, and you're telling stories. So I'm excited to continue that and find new ways to tell stories.